Mhm.
Well, smile. Look at the camera.
Welcome to Cannabis Legalization News, where every like gets someone in need a joint. And today we have a wonderful, wonderful episode of Legalization News. We're going to lead it off with what's going on in Seattle, Miggy.
Well, right now, Hempfest is being oppressed. It's
Who's doing that? Who's oppressing
Expedia.
this Hempfest thing you're talking about?
So a couple years back, Expedia purchased some property that's along. First off, let me explain. Hempfest occurs on a 1.5-mile stretch along the waterfront. It's the most gorgeous, longest freaking thing you can see. 1.5 miles.
Is that on the Puget Sound? Is that the waterfront?
It's right off the Puget Sound, right downtown Seattle.
It's not pronounced Puget?
Or Puget. Yeah. So Expedia, who owns TravelGo, the big travel company, they are not allowing Hempfest access to some of the like roads and parking lot access. So this festival is so big. Usually how they do it is people will come in one side and then they'll drive out the other side, which helps with the flow. It helps with the flow of traffic in the goddamn city. It's already a disruption when you have 200,000 people show up for 3 days. So the flow of traffic for vendors and whatnot is huge. And Expedia presently is not allowing Hempfest. They've been using this space for over 20 years.
That's terrible. That is just terrible. That Expedia, a travel company, a company that people who are going to go to Hempfest are going to probably rely on to get there, doesn't understand that it's important to support why people are actually going there.
Right, and then to top it off, if this was Oktoberfest, they'd probably have a banner in the back. You know what I mean? They would graciously let you use their space.
It would be a sponsor. They would be a sponsor, sir.
Yeah, I just, it's too many idiocracies that are going on with the situation. And Hempfest, we're in a legal state. We're a recreational legal state where the majority of the citizens say it's okay.
That's right. That's right. And you know what? I tell you, I actually just feel terrible about all this.
So terrible, you need to come out this October 14th, 15th, and 16th.
And you know what? I actually am. I'm coming to Seattle. I'm going to go to Hempfest. And it gets worse, folks. But you're going to need to subscribe if you want to tune in. And some of the big legalization news for cannabis for us, as a channel, is this is like our 6th month of doing these legalization news broadcasts like this. And at 6 months, we grew 400%. And we just passed 1,000 subscribers. And you could be next.
We need like party poppers. Boo-boo! Yay!
Oh, dude, you still haven't even gotten the hook yet. I still feel so bad about this article that you wrote on Expedia, because I had to book my flight like a month ago, right?
Oh, fuck.
Let me just share my screen real quick. Let me just hang on. So here was what we were just talking about, how Expedia can get lost. Here is my flight purchase confirmation. Unfortunately, from Expedia. And so, I'm really looking forward to getting to Seattle. I guess I land, I don't know when I land. It'll be later, but shit.
But,
I booked with Expedia.
But in this day and age, the other problem is these companies, they start off small, right? I mean, small Expedia, some nerd made a fucking website, and then he made a lot of money, and then they start buying all the other travel search engines, the meta search engines. So how do you say, no, I don't want to fucking support? Because they're called now, and doing my research, it's now called Expedia Group. So
I don't know, man. I was looking for flights, and I'm not trying to waste money on flights. And the flights from Chicago to Seattle, they were all over the place. And so I booked a reasonable price that was a direct flight, because I don't want to be transferred into Minnesota or something. And what did it route me through, and who had the best price? Expedia.
Yeah. Which, their algorithm or whatever, they're using 4 or 5 different little fuckers to help them pump through, so.
Yeah, so it's not even fair, but then at the same time, that's what I used. And if I would have known about this, because I booked my flight, you have to book your flight so far in advance before they start ramping up the prices,
Yeah. Well, especially during a festival time or a holiday time. I can tell you right now, the hotel prices go up right away during the Seattle Hempfest, especially for the.
Do you know who I booked with for the hotel?
Did you get the Winston House?
No, I didn't get that. We didn't get, and he's getting out of the biz, so he's not going to be doing the cannabis friendly room very much longer. I also used Expedia. It's terrible, and it came down to self interest. I'm like, what's the closest hotel to where the Hempfest is? It's right there. Okay, cool. I can walk.
Okay. Well, where'd you get up staying?
I have absolutely no idea. It's a hotel. I will look it up. But I'm in, and I did book the VIP pass for Hempfest.
Nice. That's where it's at. 2 words of note. It is in Seattle, in the what do you call it? The state or city law rule of thumb or law, whatever. The hotels are allowed to have discretionary freedom to consume.
They're usually municipal ordinances when they're at the city level.
Yeah, you know what I mean. To me, it's about the size of the jail I go to. So whether I have a drunken incident in town or violate 100 pounds across state lines, but in Seattle though, it's a hotel discretion for whether you can consume in the hotel. Like no
I'm
shit.
pretty sure I'll have enough after the Hempfest that I don't know though. I don't know. I will find out. But now that's one of the cool things that we get to do. We actually can live feed from Hempfest. So I'm not sure if you're free next Friday, which would be I think the 15th or the 16th. If you're going to come out, we can actually do a live feed from there.
Oh no, I'll be there all 3 days at a prisoner booth raising money for guys locked up. Or just
awesome. We can do a show from there because like now that we've passed 1,000 subscribers on YouTube, we're able to do live feeds from our mobiles again. So then we just have to kind of like rig up a Wi-Fi signal so that we can have a decent connectivity, and then we can go live and broadcast from Hempfest.
Yeah, and this booth is going to be extra special this year. We have several people coming out that we're working with Freedom Grow, who's a big organization. That was started by Dr. Dina and Stephanie Lambda. Dr. Dina is also known as Snoop Dogg's drug dealer, or
Snoop Dogg doesn't have a drug dealer; he's got a botanist.
Yeah, or she's the woman that inspired Weeds, the show.
Oh, yeah, that was a good. That's been off the air for a while now. I can't even remember the name of the lady that was the star in it, but it was a great show. I used to watch it all the time on Showtime, like in 2008 or so.
Yeah, you know, it's a crazy story. So yeah, she'll be there at the booth too. So it'd be great to have getting we can introduce them to our audience, you know.
Yeah, a whole bunch of, oh my gosh, you know what else was happening in cannabis legalization news this past week?
Huh.
Big news. Terpenes magazine came.
Oh shit.
Yeah, Terpenes and Testing magazine, everybody. If you're not a subscriber, that's too bad for you. It's weed porn for uber nerds. And so like it has footnotes, and it'll go over like all the genomics and the sequencing. So like you're getting not just past the terpenes, which of course were like cutting edge for most people, but then it's also the testing and then it's fantastic. So when we're looking for in the future guests to come on, I'll just read the Terpenes magazine, and then I can contact them and say like, you got to come on and tell us about that article that you did, which was just mind blowing. And then the magazine gets more mind blowing. It's actually 2 magazines. On the back, it's kind of like Mad Magazine that used to have like, you know, on the or comic book used to have like 2 comics on the back. You know what I'm saying?
Flip it over, yeah, you get the other one.
Yeah, but the other one is Extraction Magazine. So it goes over. You know, let's look at the blurbs that are trying to get you to like, you know, pick it up. Managing consistency and safety of cannabis vapor products, the fundamentals of ethanol extraction. I'm reading that. I am reading that.
Well, dude, I mean that is good nerd porn. I mean, straight up, it's good stuff. We got a comment in YouTube. Vincent Demano wants us to promote the record laws for Florida, and I just shared an article. It looks like they have stuff on the ballot for 2020.
Hey, does he know that? Do they have to do that supermajority thing like they did for medical, where they're going to have to get 60% of the vote?
You know, I don't know. I believe so. Kind of like Arizona, because Arizona had, I think, the first time for recreational 51%, and they needed to get 55, which blows my mind still. I thought the moral majority won in our.
I can't believe you guys get to bypass the legislative branch and just go straight to the people. I thought this was supposed to be a republic, gosh darn it.
What is this insane thing about rights and laws and choices?
Well, I don't know, man. If Florida puts it on the ballot in 2020, think about that, because isn't that when now all the prisoners are going to be able, like the former felons that have been locked off the rolls, there was approximately 1 million of them. If they're now able to actually vote in 2020, and all these other presidential candidates are putting marijuana legalization, cannabis legalization on the ballot, kind of on the ballot, like on the platform, at least for the Democratic Party, and I'm sure that Trump might counter them if it gets continued to be extremely popular. But man, after I get Illinois open in 2020, I'm going to have to open that Tampa office real quick. And we're going to have to start helping some people get their licenses down in the state of Florida. And Florida has this wonderful proximity to Peoria, Illinois. It is a 2-hour flight to Tampa. It's fantastic.
But we can't talk about legalization without talking about what New York just did.
Oh, crap. What did they do now?
Oh, you didn't know?
I've been kind of busy. I give a lot of consults, and then I'm just deconstructing as many applications as I can get my hands on to compile what I'm calling the good app.
Oh no, I get you. I mean, you're actually making money at this, and I just nerd out at this.
Oh yeah, come on, let's push it to 10,000 subs, and we'll get you an endorsement deal for your T-shirt. And like somebody could sponsor each episode for like $300, send you a T-shirt. And well, that's the other thing. Like with the SEO stuff that we know, and all these people that are actually in the industry that are promoting their businesses, they can come on the show, and we can make an SEO optimized page for them, and it would also be like an entire hour of them on YouTube getting out to our subscribers so that people will know of them, and then Google, when they actually Google their stuff, it'll come up. I mean, that's one of the nice things about teaching yourself SEO.
Oh yeah, no, I'm not butthurt about any of this shit. I just think it's funny because I always joke, like especially at Hempfest, because I volunteer so much, and then I end up in a lot of pictures and hanging out with a lot of people that I get a T-shirt that says "Space for Rent" right here, and then hopefully just get dollar bills thrown at me like I'm a stripper. So. One day.
How's that going for you?
Yeah, it hasn't yet. So
I'm gonna think though, if you had the stripper body and the same shirt, you might have gotten a different result.
Yeah, my tits are almost big enough. But with New York, they decriminalized it.
Oh, that's good. I mean, like decriminalization. I'm kind of surprised that they already hadn't decriminalized. I know that like Illinois still, like right now, has 3/8 of an ounce, which is almost a half decriminalized already. That's not bad, but sure, that's a step in the right direction.
Well, Cuomo got a lot of pushback because he wanted to do full legalization, but I imagine because of lobbyists and whatnot, that's
not everybody got their beaks wet. That's the problem. It's like, hey, you want the legalization? You got it.
Yeah, it's not. There's not social justice. We got to have the packaging.
You got to pay off the alderman.
I mean, think about it. We got packaging lobbyists. You got seed to sell lobbyists with your software. I mean, it's no longer.
You got all sorts of lobbyists. I mean, then you have security lobbyists, and then you have I'm not sure if Design Build has lobbyists, but what about like indoor grows? What do you have like lighting lobbyists that come in? It's like, no, we don't want to allow any nurseries or not nurseries, because nurseries could just be where you grow the small plant, but we don't want to allow any outdoor cultivation, even in hoop houses or nurseries, because that's going to bring down my profits. I can't sell as many lights if you can go outside and grow the plant.
You know what? If America could tax fucking oxygen, I think we would. But I don't think that the lighting lobbyists will ever be a thing. But
but we actually might have a guy on next week that's going to help us with lighting, and I've given him a project, and the project is pretty cool. Here's the square footage of a craft grow. Here's your lighting that you're offering. Do some math and tell me some output volume that you're going to get from that flowering space with your lights.
Yeah, well, that's the whole thing too. I mean, I went to a grow last week, and or not last week, last month, and they were using LED lights. And I remember when LED light technology was not up to par.
Yeah, they still kind of have that rumor, and I believe, and I don't want to, I would have to confirm this, but he may be an LED light guy. But I thought the LED lights, unlike the sodium diode or whatever it is, light, again, this is the problem with growing the flower indoors. It's just difficult to get on the job experience that's really practical, to be honest. I mean, it's just not there.
Well, and the LED thing, I mean, it's already past all the issues now, because it is hitting all the spectrums. It is doing all the things that regular lighting does without the energy draw, But again, I think, your outside grow is still always going to be the best option for your purists, that's.
But that was, again, one of the things on Terpenes Magazine this month was reducing the carbon footprint of cannabis cultivation. That's where the real jack is, because if you got to get that cost per gram down.
Hey, what do you know about Virginia law? We got a question about Virginia.
It's probably for lovers.
Yeah. Well, I've been looking at my quick little Google search here, and they got a slew of bills during 2018-19 that are made to the General Assembly, which took effect on July 1st. So there is a framework of, I guess, medical, I would assume. I'm going to post
Well,
a
that's
comment.
good. I'm glad that they're getting medical. One of the things, though, with tobacco country, and I include Virginia in that, is the proliferation of hemp is giving people a lot more exposure to cannabis. And hopefully from that, you get more of the medical states. I'm not sure how crazy those medical states will get in the cultivation side of the cannabis. For example, like Oklahoma, but that's going to be really interesting to see the stripe of that rebel or whatever. I don't know. I know very little about Virginia cannabis laws, but if it's like every other medical cannabis law, it's very similar to the cannabis law that the states before it passed, and then they put their little spin on it. But Illinois is like the most restrictive. So,
well, Virginia, I believe also Virginia's they're combating the tobacco industry's hurt.
So they have need for because if they're also seeing the benefit that hemp flower is bringing to their farmers and they have the desire to grow their economy, why wouldn't they allow that? Because people in Virginia are buying weed.
Oh God! Well, I used to live in the
buying it illegally, and it's like cash. It's all cash. You're not going to be able to tax it. You're not going to be able to track it. You're not going to be able to manage its purity levels.
Well, speaking back to the all cash situation, which is really what makes the industry unsafe.
I like how I just got the thumbnail for this sent to me, and it hit my Apple Watch. So that's great. As soon as we're off the feed, I can put up the thumbnail.
Oh God, Jesus Christ! Did we smile enough?
I think we did fine. We'll see on that. And I really want to thank our thumbnail guy for helping us get to 1,000 subscribers. That really helps. So your thumbnails are quite important in YouTube, because your thumbnail can be boring or it can be exciting, and then depending on whether or not that's a thing, you're going to click, you're not going to click.
Well, yeah, and it helps build your audience as far as like, hey, look at the big brown guy and the big white guy. I mean, people identify that this is it. Two guys shooting the shit.
Talking about cannabis legalization, and let's go to the next slide in our legalization list for the week. Another huge news, of course, is cannabis giant Cresco Labs looks to expand and rebrand as Sunnyside, and Sunnyside appears to be, oh gosh, like how cannabis is like CBD is blended into that whole wellness trend, and how healthy it is and how good it is for you and wholesome, and it's going to not only be like a vegan juice cleanse, but you're also going to do yoga and then have a turmeric smoothie, and after that you're going to have your Sunnyside Cresco mini joints.
Hey, I have to step away for a second because I am at work and I am needed right now. It'll be like 5-10 minutes, but I'm gonna post an article in here into the YouTube comments, and let me tell you something. CBN is being identified as the next component. You know how we talked about last week about CBG or CBDs?
Yeah. Hey, man, throw me that link. Just text it to me real quick, or if you can, or something, because then I'm not sure where the comments are, to be honest. I don't know.
You know what I will do? I will put it in the Facebook on the page.
Sure. Which page? The legalization news or the adult use? Okay. So let me also just Google that. What did you say? It was the CBN is the new one that's coming up?
Yeah.
CBN. Is that the one that happens if it's just denaturing, or is that? Yeah, it might be.
I'm not sure. Well, the thing is, there's so many ways to get the components of extraction. Here, I'm going to post it, and I'm going to send you Facebook Messenger.
Oh, that will actually work really well.
There you go, buddy. All right, I'll be back in like 10 minutes, man.
I'll fill time. I just heard it. I just got a Facebook Messenger. Sweet. All right. Well, the thing about that is I cannot access Facebook Messenger because I'm also live on Facebook. This brings up a wonderful thing. Thank you for welcoming minute 24 of this. We usually do this, and this is not just going to affect our channel. This is going to affect a lot of channels. Tomorrow is August 1st, and this hangout on the air will be dead, in the sense that we're no longer allowed to use Google Hangouts on the air. Bubble Man is another one that I've seen that uses this really well. Might have to try to get him on the show, but he's got hundreds of thousands of subs. Anyway, the thing about it is it's great because I'm able to use this podcast and because I'm in Illinois, Miggy's in Seattle, and last week we had an accountant, from Green Growth Industries, Jim. He's not an accountant, but still from LA, and we're able to have a seamless conversation. Unfortunately, this is going away, and they don't really have a replacement for it yet. But there is a streaming service that's out there. And when I'm trying to stream also on Facebook, it just doesn't have very good use because you can only see half of it. And so now we can have this new streaming service called like Streamwise or something like that, where we'll still be able to do the show. And then I have to rip the show and I strip it and I post it as a podcast itself, which again, as application season really starts to bear down on us, the assistant will be helping me greatly with that. So let's turn now to the thing that is most important, more news. So it's CBN. Now, I thought CBN was the one. Oh my gosh, I do love cannabis. This is one of the things that's a nice design. You have this little pop-up here come in, and then you're actually complying with the CAN-SPAM Act. Yeah, I want to get on my email list. You just can give me a call, and then we'll sign you up for it. So this is CBN, and I thought CBN was the one that makes you really, really sleepy. And if you have a antibacterial, rodent, I thought the CBN was the one that, I don't know about anti-inflammatory. Oh, that's right. Often praised as super sedative. I thought the CBN was the couch lock one myself. And it also had to do with if THC is denatured into CBD. And let's kind of Google that. That might not necessarily be a thing, but I thought that's how CBN arose. CBN THC degrade. What degrades THC and other cannabinoids? Stability properties. Oh, I should have gone to the other one. Cannabis freshness. That's very, very important. But yeah, I'm gonna hit stop on that and continue to fill time. So that's one way that you can continue to look into it. It doesn't necessarily have anything to do with the news. The other stuff is when I'm doing these, I have the Google alerts. So sign up for Google alerts. They will fire off on a daily basis, and then you can stay on top of it. Or you can tune in here and subscribe, which is fun. Now, the thing that I've really been working on is more crap, because I get weird shit emailed to me or just mailed to me now. I got this thing mailed to me for no real explanation. It just comes in the mail, filled with all their flyers. For this is that's a doodad right there. That's what that is. And the thing with that is that evidently, why would you just? Oh, it's got little stickies. That's nice. That's nice. I'm glad they put stickies on there. And so they just mailed this to me. October 14th through the 16th, Cannabis Summit, presented by Canna One.
I thought you were looking up porn for a second.
Canna One on. Hey, guess who joined us again?
I'm back.
Did you solve all the world's ills?
Yeah, everything's correct now. We're good to go. So Trump's no longer president.
Man, you got to go back to work more often. Did you see that train wreck? They aren't train wrecks. They're train wrecks of the Democratic debate last night.
No, I'm waiting for like the World Series portion of it.
Is that where it's down to like 6 candidates as opposed to 60?
Yeah, this was too much fucking crap for me to follow.
Just wait. Think about the presidential election of 2046 when there's like 90 people running for president, because by then everybody thinks they can be president.
Well, it's just amazing how we've diverted. I mean, our technology and everything evolves, but yet our politics stay stagnant until like the 1800s of like ponies and shit. You know,
but that's the nice thing about technology. Like you do the work once and then it kind of like accumulates, but the humans that are operating it still are the same darn humans. Hey man, with your CBN thing that you said that was going to be all hot, and then you did actually text it to me, and then I did a small explanation about how we actually have to switch formats because they're shutting down Google Hangouts like this. Yeah. So now I have to go to a different Facebook browser to pull that up. But tell the people about what the CBN thing was, because I was just guessing.
Well, it's just something I saw this morning, and it's really CBN is just another component of cannabis that.
Right. Another cannabinoid. I'm on the screen.
Because CBG is another one that I know is a good component as well.
CBG, I thought, was the one that you wanted to use if you had, I don't know, I can't remember that one, but it's, who knows? I know THCV is supposed to make you not be hungry and other weird stuff.
Well, the CBD does that. That counters your high too, your paranoid high. So for CBN, it's very antibacterial, neuroprotectant, appetite stimulant, glaucoma. So pretty much all the things that fight the cancer, the effects of cancer treatment.
I thought CBN, because like, what does THC degrade into?
That's the Delta 9. Isn't that the one?
But after the Delta 9, when it degrades further, I thought if you like, because like when you're decarboxylating cannabis, there's a sweet spot where you can decarboxylate it, and you're going to get like the best concentration of Delta 9 THC. But if you continue to like cook your weed, it will go past its prime, and then you're going to get a fuzzier. And I thought that's where you got more CBN as the THC degrades into CBN. And then if you've roasted your weed too much, you're going to have like a really, really heavy sedative body high. Is that wrong?
I don't think you're wrong on that, because I believe that's kind of the mystery and probably the issue with cannabis, right? Because like you have this plant that starts off green and fluffy, you let it dry out, and then it becomes one thing. Then you smoke it, you apply fire to it, and then that, when it hits our lungs, becomes another thing. And then that resin that's in the freaking pipe turns into something else. Because that's really
because there's 113 flipping cannabinoids, and they're all fairly interrelated.
Yeah, I mean, there's a reason for the entourage effect, or I heard a new one. Besides entourage effect, they're trying to say something else now, which I think entourage.
It's from Sunnyside with Cresco Labs, and you're supposed to have it only over porridge, and it's just a very holistic way, and it's totally woke.
Only while you're in taking a yoga.
Every buzzword for health and wellness you can give. Quarterly results, my friends. We need to operate here.
What was that?
I said quarterly results, my friends, and then I pounded the table, and then I said we need to operate here.
Oh,
it's just the profit margin in cannabis.
ISL, we're actually. I mean, with the hemp thing, that's really, the market's gonna be saturated, and then it's gonna die down a bit because, as we learned with that conversation of Beadworks, when you have a garden, a grow, a farm, you have to set off to decide: am I going to be a cannabinoid product, or am I going to be concrete? I think when the hemp,
that's something else. That's something else. The other thing that's just been annoying. Do you know what I did over the weekend?
Huh?
I moved into a closet in Chicago.
Oh shit!
Yeah, like because I'm a country bumpkin that's downstate. And like because I rank so highly for cannabis lawyer, for like craft grow, or for like social equity, or for even dispensary application or anything like that, or cannabis lawyer. I mean, that's a lot of my web traffic in the state. Like, Chicago is not an unsubstantial amount of the population of Illinois.
Yeah. Why don't you just get a swanky apartment and then charge that?
No. You just don't understand how I do business. I live in a very small house. It's called student loan house. The payment on the house is approximately 60% of the payment on the apartment in Chicago, which, by the way, is smaller than this office. I mean, like, it's so small I can barely turn around, and then I have to sleep like a horse. You know how a horse sleeps?
They got these things here in Seattle because our pricing is so outrageous, called pod apartments.
Oh, it's not that bad, but it is pretty bad.
Oh my God. No, it's city life is expensive no matter where you go, man.
Well, that's true, but then I literally have to have two prices. I have to have Chicago prices and downstate prices simply because they are two different beasts.
So did you hear about your guys' little controversy where the spouse of Illinois' pot bill sponsor takes job in cannabis industry?
I heard that one out, but I didn't see it because I'm like, wife. I thought, but then, I'm not saying that women are married to men. So like, men married to women. That's no longer the case. But then which wife? Was it Bob Morgan's?
Candace Gingrich will serve as vice president and head.
I don't remember a Gingrich sponsor.
Let's see. State Rep Kelly Cassidy.
Okay. It was Kelly Cassidy's wife. Kelly Cassidy was then, she really spearheaded this thing.
Okay. So, I mean, who's to say that improprieties? I mean, it's kind of hard when people are spearheading or the forefront of something. and their surrounding people are going to be part of that no matter what. So
You'd
I mean,
imagine. You'd imagine, like, for example, Barney Frank. You remember him?
oh yeah,
Barney Frank, him and his husband, they would smoke a lot of weed. And he was always one of the sponsors of the cannabis legalization or liberalization laws. You know, he's been out for, gosh, how long has Barney Frank not been in Congress?
oh years, man. I mean, he got smart and tried to take care
Well,
of his health.
hopefully he owns a couple of dispensaries over in Massachusetts by now.
Oh, I'd imagine he'd definitely have to be involved in the industry somehow.
Yeah, I'd be
Somebody.
surprised if he's not. Let's see what Barney Frank's up to these days.
Yeah. Hey, did you hear about the bullshit in Kansas?
Okay. When you say bullshit in Kansas, you really got to narrow it down, simply because there's just so much bullshit that goes on in the state of Kansas.
Yeah,
It may be one of their chief exports.
and I think you're right. I mean, Kansas has been a continuing issue for years with cannabis, mostly with the CPS avenue of things. For years, people have been harassed by, and they don't call it CPS in Kansas. I think it's like DHS or something, but it's the services that can take your kids away.
Oh, DCFS, the Division of Child Support Services or something like that. Child Protective Services, maybe.
Yeah, so this horrendous issue that happened 2 weeks ago. I was actually camping when I had no internet, and I was tagged in the messages. I just posted an article that was on Freedom Leaf, but so this gentleman, well, first they come to their house and say, "Hey, we have issues of an argument. We heard complaints," and the people there are saying we weren't arguing or whatever. But while they were there, they saw paraphernalia. So that became their reasonable for searching the premises.
Probable cause.
Probable cause, yeah. And they found 293 grams, which
Less than a pound.
yeah, I mean,
Right.
really,
Yeah, it's more. It's like 8 ounces, but it's not 454 grams a pound, right?
yeah. I mean, it's not life-threatening amount where that kind of still being used for like cookies and cakes. I mean, that still can be concentrated. It's not a lot when you consider the uses for it.
Yeah, I mean, like, if we're going to turn that into a live rosin, that's like, it's not that much. I mean, you have to basically just strip out like 70% of the weight.
Yeah. So this guy, they take the husband in, and the man had health problems kind of going in. He was a bigger man, but again, not, when you're an unhealthy person like me, I know my limits. Like
you're unhealthy.
I like steak beer, but I'm not going to run a mile and a half anytime soon.
Yeah, I'm not big on any running, to be honest.
I'm not big on hills, so I'm just saying, like my body's slowly atrophying as I get older. But so this gentleman obviously was a bigger person who's living fine until he got arrested, and then he died behind bars, in the Kansas City custody. Eureka,
How
Kansas.
long was he in custody?
Of 24 hours. I believe it was an overnight situation here.
Yeah, that really helped. That really saved a whole bunch of people. But that's why cannabis prohibition, I'm not like overly optimistic about it just dropping off the face of the earth in the next 3 years. But things really do tend to speed up once you get toward the end. And so maybe, but you're changing a prejudice that's been long held and entrenched through state sanction of criminal brand. It just doesn't end,
Well, I mean, prohibition has allowed for bad policing. Recently, this whole Republican, alt-right, whatever that side you want to call it, this big conservative
loses.
Yeah, or conservative, how they say, but these people who claim like conservatism, and then they cry like, well, the police aren't respected, or the law is not being respected. Well, that's because the drug war has allowed so much violations of our rights in our citizenry that we don't have that expectation of good community practices, whatnot. As soon as I leave the border of Washington State, my ass puckers and I start feeling like I'm a fugitive.
Wait a minute. What if you go to Oregon?
Oh yeah, that's your story. Oregon's good.
No, Canada.
No, eastern ways. If I go eastern wise, because I have to go through Idaho.
Fucking Idaho.
Idaho. Well, I'll be taking my son to Minnesota here for college soon, and
Where's going in Minnesota?
He's going to St. Olaf. It's a artsy fartsy school.
Oh, that's good. Artsy fartsy. I like it.
Hey, you know what? He's done all the work. He's getting a huge amount of financial aid.
And he's going to have a good liberal arts education like I have.
Yeah, in the cold. But
oh my God, when I was in law school in Milwaukee, one of my friends was one of my friends when I was in law school was a Jamaican, and he came from a school called like McAllister in St. Paul, where he did his undergrad before he went and he did his law school in Milwaukee. And I'm like, "You're from Jamaica? What the heck, man?"
But you know, people
the point behind the "what the heck, man" was, don't you get it? It's so cold here. It's exotic. It's not like all the beaches that I have down where I'm from. And I'm like, yeah, you know, it's like where you're warm. Why on earth would you come here where it's -20? And so it was -20, and it was February, and it was the first book that I wrote when I was in law school. So it was like between my first and second year, me, my publisher, and my friend all piled into a crappy car and then drove from Milwaukee to St. Paul in like January or February. It was absolutely freezing, and I would not do it again nor recommend it.
But you know, like you said, that was exotic. If you're not from that, you don't mind that. It's not a
yeah. Like for me, it's like, you know, oppressive. Like I can't believe it's still cold. I mean, it's June, but for him, it's like, wow, this is you guys live so strange here. I can't believe these scarves that you have. That is something else.
But even with that, we still have our own, like in areas, misconceptions. Like when I used to do jobs in Montana and Wyoming, cowboy country, and I thought cowboys got up at 3 o'clock in the morning and poke cows and shit. You know, most people don't get up until like 10 o'clock.
Wait,
there.
The cowboys don't get up until 10? Don't they like milk the cows?
There's a lack of time frame. Like the world, flyover states have their own culture, but it's not still
Island time. Yeah.
No, it's definitely
no. Over in the Midwest, we have German time. German time tends to like happen 10 minutes before it's scheduled to happen.
Oh shit! So you guys?
Oh yeah. If you're 5 minutes early, you're technically late.
You got that Nostradamus time.
It's bad. It's we have the German engineering and also the Catholic guilt and lots of Midwestern judgment.
Hey, so we got a good half hour in. I do have some shit to do, but
that's one of the things though with the cannabis legalization news of the summer, especially as it's getting into an election year, there just ain't going to be as much. You know what I'm saying?
I think there's always stuff. It's just it's a matter of like it's not a lot of good news. That's the hardest part about what I do. I mean, you being in the law and stuff, you're doing business. You're just trying to help negotiate money. Me, people ping me with like the article or the gentleman who passed away. You know, it's for me, I'm always seeing these articles about someone getting locked up, someone dying behind bars, or someone being denied their medicine, or someone being fired. I mean, there's always something. It's just never fucking good.
Well, that's true. I mean, like when you see those types of articles, but that's that social equity component that is so important right now when it comes to cannabis legalization. And it looks like when you're doing it under a legislative rubric, because it's not like we can put cannabis legalization on the ballot in Congress like you can in Florida. You have to change it legislatively. And a way to do that really is through the work that you're doing, because you're exposing all the problems that the cannabis laws have done to people. And it's not just, I mean, it's lives. I mean, you are just out there ruining lives. Meanwhile, you got people like me that are, you know, helping manage the green rush and get the state open for business so that we can actually have an industry that's not underwater, not under the table, and it's all in cash and tax free, and gosh knows what's in the plant. But man, I can't believe it's going to take that long.
I mean, yeah, but we've come so much further than when you started with that first book. And to top it off, you know, the frustration I have too is like you see these protests like in Hong Kong and in Moscow and Puerto Rico where thousands of people come out. The only time and last time we had that kind of organization here in America was a goddamn pussy march.
Oh man, that's true. And that didn't do anything. That pussy grabber's still in the Oval Office.
I'm just saying, there's got to be more outrage focused on one thing. I feel in America we're kind of complacent because it's like, you know what? I got to take a day off to get mad about this situation. or I have to, or even to vote. And you got to take a day off to vote.
Yeah, I think they've really trivialized cannabis to begin with. I mean, they're like, well, you're going to be outraged about cannabis? I can't believe it. I mean, how good is your life? I mean, not like it's that bad. They just trivialize it.
And then to top it off, the trivialization gets muddled with like, well, why are you worried about legalization when we have Iran and Israel and other places I don't give a fuck about?
Right, right. And it's like, well, because that guy just died in prison, and like meanwhile you're making that guy over there rich, and he's not paying any taxes, and he's going to be wanting to protect that with lethal force. And none of these people can have a job, and they clearly have a job when you could have. Like, the stuff that GTI is doing is amazing with the genetics and the high quality. Cannabis has never been better than it is right now, and it's just going to get better because it's becoming more and more lawful to work with the plant.
That and yeah, I mean the whole science and our understanding of this plant is definitely evolving tenfold. But you just wish sometimes the outrage would be just as much for those that are being,
They trivialize you, man. It's because like when I tell people like I'm a cannabis lawyer, they're like, "What?" And I'm like, "Yeah, man. I tell people how to sell weed legit." And it's just the freaking idiot chamber of commerce in the city. Like they have this other law firm that's for the employer side, and then the title to it is like sorting through the haze or something. It's always a glib, deprecative, deprecative type of pun that they use in the titles of all these things that they put on. Usually the headlines reporting on marijuana coverage are joke headlines, trivializing the issue itself. So as you have to fight against that particular stigma, which is pervasive, and then you have other people, a lot of people, they just don't want to get in trouble. I mean, there's a reason why the Milgram experiment should terrify all of us, that we know that 2/3 of us are Nazis and we're just walking around out there.
No, it's the
Milgram study.
What's that?
The Milgram study.
No, what is that?
Yeah, check that out. We'll talk about that in another episode of Cannabis Legalization News. If you got to take off and get back to work, I can take off and get back to work myself, and everybody can look at. We'll give some homework. We're a podcast that gives homework.
No, I'm on it.
All right, yeah, the Milgram study and why 2/3 of us are Nazis, and we're all walking around out there responding to authority until we kill someone.
Oh, Jesus Christ!
Sorry, it's just, and it's one of those studies that's been confirmed and confirmed and confirmed. Provided that you have enough authority telling you to hurt somebody, you'll do it. Just following orders.
There's so much crap out there, dude. I'm gonna give you one to look up. Look up this one movie called Three Identical Strangers.
Three Identical Strangers. More homework.
Right. Just to show the pervasiveness of how our America can be.
Ah, crap.
Pervertedness or whatever. Just not right.
Just not right. And that is the way to end our 1,000th episode. Not 1,000th episode. We'll only be doing this for 6 months. It's our 1,000 subscribers special. We got into Milgram experiments, and then this Three Identical Strangers that I'll have to look into. But that's why they tune in, and we're so thrilled to have them. I'm going to have to start filming more of the informative videos because I have to weekend in Chicago now, which is crazy. So I'm going to figure out where I'm going to be filming the actual stuff that I do, because there's a lot of substantive things that I have to get going on with the actual bill itself and how you put these things together and how much they cost. And then I have to get over that hurdle and that hurdle. But it's great. I mean, they're informative, and then you're actually helping people break the stigma. So the more that we can sell, the more that you can help these people get out of prison.
That's it.
Until next time.
2 weeks, we got Hempfest.
Oh my gosh, that was the thing. I was really worried that we weren't going to be able to hit 1,000 subscribers and do a live feed at Hempfest. And now I'm kind of worried that right there, you guys can't see it on the internet, but from the broadcast booth here, it says Hangout Live is on the air. Hangout is going away August 1st. So that's tomorrow. So fortunately, we were able to have this episode. Next episode, we're going to be on all different pipes.
I'll figure it out.
All right. See you guys next time.